Welcome back to Feeding Frenzy Special. I am here at Cafe Coffee Day Lounge and I am joined here by Mr. Ram, who promised me before going on the break that he would tell me how coffee is brewed here and how beverages are mixed and what makes Lounge special.
Yes, as we discussed, we're trying to create a different experience in the lounge, and this is brought about by having an interactive experience with the product as well as the customer. So all the beverages that we have created, whether it's the alternate brewing, the mixology, or beverages created of cold beverages, are done in front of the customer. And so the customer gets to enjoy it like an espresso or cappuccino. It gets done behind the coffee machine, and hence you don't see what is happening. You just get to see the product. In the lounge, we try to do something more, whether it's the alternate brewing, where we said, coffee can be brewed in many other ways. It gets done in front of the customer, so they get to see all the five senses have been aroused. They get to see the smell, the taste. So the alternate brewing is covered that way, as well as our cold beverages where they're finished at the table. We can start with the alternate brewing. My colleague Omna will run you through the three different alternate methods that we want to brew the coffee. The one is called a siphon.
So we are starting with the siphon.
The siphon coffee,
right.
Yes. This is again kind of popular in the Far East, Japan and Hong Kong. As you can see, this is the whole experience you'll get when you order this coffee. This whole apparatus, the whole thing comes in front of you. So you get to see basically this hot water in the bottom chamber. As it reaches the right temperature, the steam will rise up, then go through the coffee powder, and then we remove the heat source, and the temperature of the bottom chamber drops. So because of the vacuum, it goes back down. So just the right amount of time the coffee powder is in contact with the water, it gets brewed, and then it collects back. So the customer is getting to see it, so he's like enjoying all this. Once the coffee is brewed, you can pour it in your cup, and it's always had with a piece of date. So that kind of adds, like the old traditional Turkish coffee, it was how it was done. So you get to enjoy this coffee. So while that is getting brewed, we will try another method, the pour over. This is a very simple, again kind of popular in the US, where hot water just is poured over selected, beans of coffee powder. And because of this method, where again it just with the gravity, the waters go through the coffee powder, and it creates a light aromatic coffee, as opposed to the siphon, which has a little bit more body to it.
So what is the difference between this method and that one? This is more aromatic?
There is a difference in the taste profile and the characteristics of the liquid, even though it's the same coffee powder. Because of the amount of time, the temperature, and how long it's in contact with, the pour over kind of creates a little more lighter bodied, much more aromatic coffee. Again, and this coffee you can have it at different types of the day based on your mood. Whereas the siphon, the same coffee powder, creates is a much more body because of the time and temperature through which it has been infused with. And so this will go with maybe after meal, or if you want early in the morning. So it depends on your mood. So you can have these coffees at different times of the day. So yes, there is a difference in the body and the taste profile of the two methods.
Right. I'm guessing timing is a very important factor when it comes to the process of siphoning.
One of the factors, yes,
right.
One of the factors. Also the pressure at which this one, there is, the infusion goes up and comes down. That is just pouring through. So the pressure of the water through which it goes through the grind is also very important, right. And creating different characteristics.
So there's a lot of science involved behind making a simple cup of coffee, isn't it?
Yes, and that's what we want to highlight here, because people have been drinking coffee for years and years. I mean, India is a coffee growing country, but we want to showcase some of these methods where coffee, there's much more to it. There are so many soluble compounds in it, and coffee can be had throughout the day, before meal, early in the morning, after lunch, pre-lunch, and all these again becomes part of your conversation. You can have it with your friends. You can enjoy it by itself. Another thing we want to highlight is coffee doesn't have to have it with milk. It is in these coffees recommended without milk. That's when you enjoy all the characteristics of the coffee. Whereas a cappuccino, there's so much milk in it, so you don't get to enjoy the actual coffee in it.
All right, and what's the third method?
The third one is a French press. This is a classical coffee, again coming from Europe. Is also called the plunger, where again hot water is poured into the coffee powder, and it's up to the required, about 4 minutes when the infusion happens. Then it's plunged where it's just pushed through, so it separates the grind from the coffee liquor. And because of this unique method, again, the coffee is now kind of probably the most among the 3 coffee, it has the most body in it. So it takes a couple of minutes, and then we will plunge it. As you can see, the water's come to a boil, and it's steaming up. It's going right through. Yeah, you get to get the smell. Actually, the brewing is happening now. You get to see it where in an espresso you don't get to see it because it's happening in the machine. You give it a good stir, and then.
So all these 3 methods essentially need about 4 to 5 minutes, not more than that.
Yes, 4 to 5 minutes. This one, it might, because it needs some kind of preparation time. This will take about 6 to 7 minutes. All the water is gone to the top chamber. Now the heat source is removed. So now the temperature of the bottom chamber will start decreasing, and then there is a vacuum created, difference in pressures, and then the brewed coffee decoction falls down.
That, yeah. So is it ready now? Would you say it is ready to be served?
Yes, it's ready to be served. We serve this again in a very specific glass, unlike a cup. This is called a kava cup. Again, goes back to the origin of coffee, where traditionally coffee was served in these small cups, kava cups. So this coffee is then served. Again, it's recommended without milk. So the volume of coffee is less, unless unlike a cappuccino, but small, great things come in small sizes. So you get to savor this coffee. A medium-bodied coffee, again, it has a lot of interest in the whole visual experience you go through. Now, a recommended way is you take a bite of the date and then take a sip of the coffee.
All right, so the process is to have a bite of the date first.
Yeah. Take a sip of the coffee. So the sweetness of the date, again, sugar, we recommend without sugar and milk, so the sweetness of the date mixes well with the coffee.
This coffee is strong, and the fact that it's not mixed with water, with milk or sugar, gives it a totally different taste when you have it with the date.
The pour over also is ready. You can go ahead and you can take a sip of the you can see it's a little lighter body.
The smell is delicious.
Yes, it's a more aromatic and less body than the siphon.
Right.
The French press is ready to go. You just have to plunge it. It's basically separating the grind from the coffee. And there's your delicious cup of coffee.
So out of all these 3, which is your personal favorite?
Well, for its obvious visual appeal, I like the siphon. It adds beauty to it. You get to see it. There's a lot more happening. So my personal preference is a siphon.
And it's actually interesting that all these traditional methods are maintained, and it is actually done in front of a customer, so that he gets a visual sense of it, not just the taste of the coffee.
Absolutely, and that's the part of it. That's why we want to showcase this to people here. So it's not about just espressos or filter coffee. Coffee is more than that.
These are 3 cups of delicious coffee, but the best part about the CCD lounge is not just the coffee. There are a lot of other beverages that are mixed. There's a whole concept of mixology. And plus, I think what sets this apart is the promising food that you have here.
Yes, just a little bit on the beverages. We have mixology where Our champion baristas have created recipes in various competitions, and we showcase this in the lounge. Again, there's something called coffee teenies. It's of take of martinis, where coffee is blended with, coffee goes with so many other ingredients. So a recipe is created out of, adding milk or not necessarily milk, cream, nuts, fruit. And so it's created in a lovely, just like a martini, presented to the customer, and it's poured in front of the customer. So the whole look and feel of the coffee changes dramatically. So we have the coffee. We also have the refreshers, where we again do a finishing up at the rather than the whole beverage coming ready-made from the behind the counter. It is finished off in front of the customer. Again, highlighting our interactive experience, where the customer gets to see how the beverage is presented, and that adds a whole other dimension to the end product. Talking about food, yes, again on the interactive experience, the food is again, we have created meals, larger meals, which is usually you don't find in our the cafes. We have from a snack category, which through customer feedback, we said snacks will work very well in this concept. It goes very well with coffee. So we have a snack category. We also have a sandwich category, where it's called As You Like It, which means you get to choose based on what mood you're in. If you're in a healthy mood, you get to choose a multi-grain bread with a filling and a sauce, or if you want to indulge in. So the bread is made to your choice. We have a pizzas, which again you get to choose your toppings. A little different from where you just get to whatever pizzas are made, then you get to eat only those. So there's an element of choice involved. And around this, there is a snack, there's a pastas, which we want to encourage meals. So during lunch and dinner, the lounge becomes an option for you.
Exactly. So now this essentially means that you not only have a cup of coffee, but along with that you can order starters and a main course meal as well.
Absolutely. The food is all about global cuisine, which matches again with our global coffee concept. Influence from across different parts of India, like the Mumbai sandwich, salads from different regions, or there is a little bit of Arabic influence, Italian influence through the pastas. So there is some parts of it from different parts of the country as well as outside the country.
Okay, that's fantastic, because now that essentially means that you have not only starters and sandwiches to go with your coffee, you also have a full course meal that you can order. Now we'll talk a bit about that in detail when we come back after a short break, because I need to enjoy my 3 cups of coffee now. When we come back, the food that you can have at Cafe Coffee Day Lounge.